Check, check. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, everybody who came. Thank you for all the support. It means a lot to me to have an audience talking for this. That is very important for me, but also for all of us. So thank you for attending. And from today on, you should be ambassadors of sustainability, of climate justice. So we'll talk a little today about this. It's already gone. Okay, time's on. Climate emergency. It's a challenge that is not only me in my life who is facing, it's us, it's Europe, it's the whole world where we are ahead of the biggest threat to human life, but it's fine, we're still not acting maybe like if we were. I'm going to talk a little about some data, but to begin, I want you to read this thing. We have been talking about the Erasmus Generation, but this generation, which is the first one that can end poverty and the last one that can end climate change. This was said by the former Secretary General of the United Nations. So when we speak about generation, it's not only the generation of mobility, it's a generation that has to go through all the fields and improve society here and all around the world. I'm going to talk a little about me, quickly, so you say, why are you talking to us, right? Well, I was born in the north of Spain, in a little town called Alfaro, very tiny, 10,000 people. And from an early age, I had the opportunity to be around nature, the river, the forest. And this is where maybe I got that sensitivity, that affection for living beings, for the trees, for the flowers, and I appreciate it and connect it. That now in our daily lives that we are so busy with our exams, with our timetables, with our buildings of concrete, that we have completely disconnected and forgotten where we come from, that we are animals and it's our Mother Earth. And I always encourage to go to the park, to the forest, and feel part of it. I then studied aerospace engineering and focused on using satellite technology to study Earth. Okay, we go and we touch the tree, but now from the satellite we can read the tree, we can understand how it's going, and not only a tree, but whole continents and whole ecosystems. And I work now in a startup where we use satellite technology that I studied. I joined this team, it's not my startup, and we do oil spill detection with satellites, which is a threat that attacks all the oceans around the world, and incredible quantities of oil touch fish, touch algae, touch coast, and it's a horrible disaster. And this is the kind of incidents that we try to face. We analyze, we quantify, and then with this information we give it to the authorities so they can go clean it this way, this other place. And apart from, I do stuff outside of this sometimes, and one of it was that I had the chance to go to Glasgow, to go to COP26, where there is a Glasgow delegation here who hosted me, and I had the chance to talk to real ministers from Spain, from Canada, from the United States, and it was tough to be there, because I got my dreams broken and say, oh, they're going to listen to us. But it was just, although it was good to meet other youth who are also active in climate justice, it was heartbreaking to see all the greenwashing that there is. So what's going on? What is climate change? What is going on exactly? Well, the North Pole and the South Pole are facing temperatures 40 degrees higher than usual. The destruction of the Amazon is not stopping. Well, the study said that it could become a savanna, a desert, if we don't do anything about it. The priorities of tackling climate change are being put aside because of the current geopolitical status of the world. We are seeing other studies that say how the floods that happen in Germany are directly connected to climate change. So it was not just an isolated episode. Spain is also facing droughts, and we are losing biodiversity. By 2050, they say that we could lose half of all the species that exist. We're talking about insects, about mammals, about whales, about fish. And just to sum up all the bad things that are happening in our planet, we have floods, we have droughts, we have destruction of ecosystems, We have those organisms that may not be ever recovered, that genetics of these animals, the beauty of a living being, of a species that has been developing and evolving for millions of years, will be vanished. And all this is not only that we're losing the red ant from the Amazonia, it's not that we are losing the dolphins from Indonesia, it's that all these events are being translated into political instability, and it's a threat not only environmentally, but in our daily lives. We are not doing anything about it. We are like this. Like it's not such a big thing, you know? And I'm gonna do a quick scientific sum up. Okay, why is this happening? Well, since the Industrial Revolution, we began burning oil, burning coal, burning gas, and you can see how the spike goes up, and it has not stopped growing. Since there are climate change summits, it has even become higher, you know? But what is exactly this carbon thing? Well, how much are we putting into the atmosphere? Well, the equivalent, every 24 hours, 110 million tons. This is the equivalent of 500,000 nuclear bombs in the atmosphere every day. Imagine the magnitude of a nuclear bomb, well, 500,000 times into the atmosphere. Today, and tomorrow, and the day after, and the day before, and on Monday, and Tuesday, and it's not stopping. But what is exactly carbon? Well, for millions of years, the dead living beings have come to the soil, to the bottom of the ocean, to the bottom of Earth, and they have decomposed, and they are become, that carbon they had in our bodies, because we have carbon, animals have carbon, have been stuck into the floor. But now what we are doing is we are extracting that carbon. First, we put carbon in the atmosphere by taking out of the floor, and now we are burning it, which releases the inner carbon of the composition. And we are changing the composition of the atmosphere, which is like chemistry. We are changing it, and it's affecting the weather. But it's not the first time that the carbon composition of the atmosphere has changed. For the last million years, it has been fluctuating. We say, well, it's going up, it's going down. Well, right now, today, we are here. Okay? You can see how we have broken all the records from the last million years. And we have been able to achieve it in only 200 years. Good job, humanity. But the rise of the carbon composition in the atmosphere, it has not only been, the composition changes. Well, it's the rise of temperatures too. You can see how the temperatures go up, but not only in land, also in the ocean. And what does the rise of temperatures mean? They mean this. France, Portugal, California. We're not only having fires, we're having also the evaporation of more water, and this is meaning that we have stronger storms. So at the same time we have more fire and we have more water, but it's unbalanced. We are having unstable storms all around the world. Philippines. And when all this water evaporates from the ocean, it also evaporates the water inland, making it having at the same time the biggest floods and the biggest droughts in Italy, in Syria. Anybody remember Syria? Well, between 2006 and 2010, Syria experienced the worst droughts ever in history. And this meant that the fertile land that people relied on to cultivate, to eat, to sell, was no longer available. So people had to move from the countryside to the cities, to already highly populated cities. And all this ended up in a war. You have people who don't even have food to eat. And people are taking political credit from the necessity of these civilizations, people. And it's being used as a weapon, the vulnerability of a population that can't even eat. And you see now you can connect the political instability that comes from the environmental instability. Okay, so let's do a quick summary. If we have also, this not only happen in the weather, if we have a whole world that is being exploited, the resources extracted, we are missing animal species, we are missing plant species too, vegetable species. And we are getting closer and closer to preserve areas of the environment. And this is getting us closer to pathogens, viruses, entities that we were not supposed to be in contact with. Pathogens such as, yes, you all know, COVID. COVID-19, the pandemic, is a symptom of a system that is broken and that has not stopped deteriorating. Apart from that, it's not only that we get COVID, we get also a continent, Europe, that requires fossil fuels to work. Well, not only Europe, the whole world requires fossil fuels to work. But Europe does not have enough of those resources, so what do? We import it. We import it from many countries around the world. Yes, you can imagine which countries. Countries such as Russia, but not only oil, also coal, also gas. So right now, we are fully dependent on a country that is committing crimes, and we are still buying those products from him. But this should be an inflection point on how we behave about that. This should send a message of, we are stopping here, we're going for cleaner energies now. Or not, or we're going to keep financing that war with our needs, for our cars, for our transport, for our... No, it's time to change, the time is now. But who is responsible for this? Okay, this is a map of the world. This is balanced by areas, just a normal map. This is a map of the world by population. Okay, you can see how China is pretty big, India too, Africa, Nigeria is pretty big too. This is by emissions. Okay, you can see how the US is huge, China is very big too, Europe is very big. You can see how tiny is South America and Africa. And this is the most shocking map. This is a map of vulnerability. Okay, and I want you to focus on this part of the map. See the emissions, see the risk we are at. We're not in that much risk, and we have the resources for it. But we may be okay with the climate change, but there are other parts of the world that will not be that okay because they don't have what we have in Europe. They don't have the infrastructure, the education. Okay. And apart from only us as a continent who are responsible, there are also a very few number of companies that are responsible for almost 3/4 of all the global emissions. Do we know which companies they are? We all know which companies they are. Not only fossil fuels. We're talking about pollution at many levels. And where are they located? Are they located in remote locations? No, we know where they are. They are in the Western world. And are we doing anything about it? No. And the southern part of the world emits very much less and is already experiencing. Are we doing anything about it? They are already having droughts, but they are not emitting. We should somehow help them, not only with charities, but like official measures for the damage we are causing. But the climate justice is not only about emissions, it's not only about plastic, it's about education, it's about poverty, it's about famine, it's about gender equality, it's about racial equality, you know, it's all these fights are symptoms, things that need to be changed and all come together with climate justice. It's about the reparations. It's about women knowing and women having resources to act on their societies. And this comes together with the hand of climate justice. But it's not the end of the world yet. There is hope. There is hope. In Germany, you see more wind power than coal power since 2018. There is hope in more and more countries. You see solar energy. There is hope in knowing that changing our diet, we can impact the environment. If all of Europe did not eat meat for one day, we would save the same amount of energy that Paris needs in 1 year. How about that? We can have that effect on the whole world. And with this climate justice, we can give sustainable, environmentally friendly, energetic independence to people that don't have energy yet. Let's go to Africa and we give them the opportunity, the transition, so they can develop in a cleaner way. This is the last slide. We are on. I want you to see, this is the atmosphere, seen from the International Space Station. How thin, how small this layer of 10, 15 kilometers is. This layer represents the difference between life and death. Out of those 15 kilometers, no life. We can see how we are changing for the last 200 years the composition of it, and we are putting us at risk. But not only us, people outside, people in other parts of the world. So we must be very careful with our measures, with our behaviors, because this is the only place in the world where we know that there is life, and we may erase it from here too. So thank you very much. Here you have resources, articles, books that we have collected, and you can ask me questions through there. You can connect me through LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, okay? You can send me memes too. But thank you very much for coming, and I hope you have a good day.